Hi, before we jump into this particular video, I need to give you a bit of a content warning. I talk about some very intense, very negative emotions, and I talk about self-harm. If this is triggering in any way for you, I suggest you skip this episode. If you're going to find this difficult, watch with caution. If you're affected or if you're struggling with any of the content that I cover in this video, reach out to somebody that you trust. And if you feel that you can't, then contact the Samaritans, or in an emergency, if you're really struggling, dial 999 and get some help. People love you, whether you can feel that at the moment or not, they do. There are details to all of these services linked below. Hello, my name's Jay and I have ADHD. You'll note that there has been a significant gap between the last video and this one of approximately 4 months. That's because as I went into week 2 and 3 of medication, things got really bad, ridiculously, suicidally bad, and I didn't want to talk about it, frankly. It made me feel awful. Obvious statement of the video. At the same time, I didn't want to talk about it because there's a very strong possibility that talking about it would make other people feel awful, and that compounds making things awful, and I don't want to make things awful for other people. Making stuff awful for me, fine, yeah, hi, my life. For other people, not so groovy. But this is actually really important. So I stopped recording, which was a bad thing to do. I then went back and made notes. And then on reading my notes for what I thought happened in retrospect for weeks 2 and 3, that wasn't necessarily what happened in weeks 2 and 3. That's how messed up things got. My concept of time was completely balked by bad feelings, trauma, and all sorts. Things got really bad. So it's going to be tricky to talk about weeks 2 and 3. Anyway, approximately what I remember with my notes was in week 2, things seemed to calm down slightly after the initial injury. I was crashing quite hard in the afternoons on a full dose, which was not a full dose, it was just one whole tablet. I had a bit more oomph to get stuff done, which was great, but my brain was still very much like a puppy in a squeaky toy factory. More on that later. And definitely the tablets were not feeling like a magic bullet, but the oomph was welcome. Made a lot of headway through a buttload of life admin that had been loitering around for a number of years. Unfortunately, my back continued to worsen. And the physio that I arranged wasn't overly beneficial because my back was so bad, there wasn't a great deal that they could really do with it at that point in time. It was very twitchy, softly, strokey monkey. And that really sucked. And then fed into bad things for week 3. Now, this is where it went off the rails. From the moment I hurt my back again, I'd been fighting my mental health quite significantly to try and keep my head together. The feeling that I was having to surrender more of my life, going to the gym, running, movement on top of dancing, was crushing. Completely soul crushing, particularly as I'd been getting back to the gym and I'd specifically worked with a trainer who specializes in rehab for back injuries. And things had been going well, really well. I was having a great time. I'd built up a good cadence. I was getting more confidence and having the more energy. I was able to get back. I was making friends at the gym, which made me want to go. And then injury from doing something really innocuous and losing the ability to move. is one of the most horrible things that can happen to me. If I can't move, it puts me into a horrible place. Factor in the shenanigans of the strong painkillers on top of all of my other medication, and my biochemistry just going bananas. Not great. Then another migraine, more medication, and yeah, continuing to work despite chronic pain and being psychologically beaten is not great. And then the Wednesday of week 3, work really started to chew me as well, which wasn't helped by someone at work being particularly aggressive and denigrating, which on reflection wasn't necessarily their intention, but at the time, with everything that was happening, it was the worst thing, and it felt very assaulty. And then someone else was inadvertently diminishing me and my journey to my face. And that was it. My defense had gone. And I unraveled, frankly, and I could see no value in me, my life, continuing with my life. So in a state of great distress, I took myself for a walk, because exercise, fresh air, greenery, all meant to help. By the end of that walk, I had all of those problems, and I was hot and sweaty and still pissed off. I walked past the hospital and was very close to going in to ask for help because of where I was mentally, but didn't, because who really has time for, frankly, a middle-aged white guy who isn't valuing his worth on the planet? There are bigger problems that people have, particularly in a hospital, than me, who's just dealing with, debilitating back pain and the inability to function as a human being. So then I thought, I'll have a bath, because, that might help. That didn't help. Not surprising, really. And yeah, it was very hard to not drag out all of the medication that I have in the house and what little alcohol I keep in the house, for good reason, and do what I could to end it all. Because between the pain, the RSD, not being able to move, yeah, it's not a good place to be. But yeah, feeling alone, isolated, nobody cares. I was a burden, more of a problem than the solution. And the more of my life that I gave to my injury, the less of me that there was left. Yeah. And whenever I've asked for help, I get moving again, and then it's, fine. But at what point will it stop? Should I just give up trying to move? When will somebody actually help? Bearing in mind the last time I'd asked people for help, I was reminded of the fact of, well, you are 42 now, So I'm meant to just give up and stop moving and just live in pain for the next 40, 50, 60 years of my life. No. But yeah. So managed to get myself to sleep that I could wake up from. No Princess Aurora here. Thursday and Friday were also not great, but they weren't as bad as Wednesday, and that was progress, at least. Yeah. Saturday and Sunday that week were just survival, quite honestly. Just survival. And sometimes that's okay. You know, you don't have to be together all of the time. Sometimes success can just be continued existence. Not giving up is sometimes celebratable success. And if you're at a place where that's the only thing there is, take that win. It gets better. Oh, cheer up. Things will be fine. Those statements don't help. And even though I'm now 4 months further down the line, and yeah, things have actually got better for reasons that we'll come on to, saying something like that to me when I was in that place would push me further into that place, not snap me out of it. Yeah, so there we go. Very awful part of the journey through weeks 2 and weeks 3 of ADHD medication. And I'm going to stop that one there because it was a long one. I'll cover week 4 in the next video. And yeah, things start to change. So stick with me. Goodbye.